So it is December 26th, 2021, and for this week's news, I'm going to take us back to 12/18 when the CrossFit Health and Webinar series had Dr. Julie Foucher of the CrossFit Precision Care interview Dr. Gabriel Lyon on the subject of muscle mass and long-term health. Dr. Gabriel Lyon works specifically with Navy SEALs and other military operators, as well as elite-level athletes. The primary bullet points from this hour-long interview were very specific and relevant to most CrossFit athletes. So kind of bullet pointing the major points, she specifically calls out that the medical community is overly fat focused, meaning that we measure and use as markers of health both weight and fat, and we focus on being obese or over fat, and when we really should be spending more focus on the amount of muscle that we have, specifically being under muscled or over muscled or correctly muscled. So she points out as a bullet point that a takeaway that skeletal muscle is an organ, and it is the organ of longevity, meaning that it represents our overall health, and there's a correlation there. As we become older, we become less efficient at building muscle and using protein, so it becomes more important as we age. Currently, the medical community does not measure muscle as a marker of health, and we know that having too low amount of skeletal muscle is bad for your overall health, as well as having too much of skeletal muscle is bad for your overall health and leads to things like sleep apnea and other long-term disease. So she recommends 3 to 5 days a week of weight training and high-intensity interval training or CrossFit style training, as well as additional cardiovascular exercise per week in the 2 to 3 days a week of that. She also recommends, and this is kind of a radical change for a lot of athletes, the amount of protein consumption, raising that. So the normal recommendation for protein consumption is 1.2 to 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of the athlete, and this is designed by the medical community to be the minimum amount to maintain and protect us versus disease. So that's the minimum amount, and a lot of athletes use that as the recommended amount. So she recommends using 1 gram or consuming 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So I currently weigh 185 pounds. I feel my ideal body weight would be closer to 170 pounds, so I would use 170 pounds to determine that, and I should be eating 170 grams of protein according to Dr. Lyon. She also recommends, especially I'm a vegetarian, if you are a vegetarian or you're taking protein supplements of any kind, which I do, that those supplements need to be taken with a meal that also includes protein, and trying to get that into 2 at most 3 meals a day to get all of those proteins in together, though, is critically important. So that was, I think, a fascinating interview that's on the CrossFit website. This is a monthly series. They have a series of these coming out, and I'll be following through with them as we go. Additionally, in the news, as the Open approaches, and we all were kind of surprised at 21.1 last year with the wall walking exercise. A potential new movement that's coming along, I found, is something called Trapeze Exits, or sometimes also called exclusive muscle-ups. This was introduced at a CrossFit sanctioned event on November 26th to the 28th. It was called the Siberian Showdown. It was in Siberia, but it was a CrossFit sanctioned event. And the movement, a trapeze, is defined as a short horizontal bar suspended from 2 parallel ropes. And these trapeze exits are similar to bar muscle-ups. However, they're done on a movable bar. The athletes were asked to do a series of exercises, which included a round of 25 reps of trapeze exits, and only 6 of the 29 athletes were able to complete the exercise. So this exercise caused a lot of problems for people, but it was also at a CrossFit sanctioned event, and maybe something we'll see in this year's Open. Who knows? It could be the next big thing. All right, that's it for this week's news update. Look forward to seeing you next week.